Well, hi everyone. Good to be with you. I'm here my sorry, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Alan Bradshaw. I'm a business psychologist and founder of the Psychology Business Incubator. I'm here with friend and colleague, longtime colleague, and member of the Psychology Business Incubator. That's Derek Mowbray. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Alan. Hi. Yeah, well, I'm an organization health psychologist, and we're going to hold a series of conversations, and this is
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, Derek and I, is we're going to have a few conversations on the theme of leadership and leadership development. And this is a particular question that we're going to look at today. And that question is, at what age should leaders start their development? Over to you then, Derek. What do you think about this, and why do you think that this question, at what age should leaders start? Why is that an important question, do you think?
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with the way in which people gravitate to the top of organizations. In general, people who've done a brilliant job doing something probably highly technical find themselves applying and becoming managers, which is something completely different.
Yes.
And discover when they become managers that actually they've got people, but they've never been developed to look after and develop the people and take an interest in how they perform at their peak.
Yes.
And those same managers sort of gravitate further up the organization, up the greasy pole until they become directors, but they actually haven't changed. They're still highly technical people
Yeah.
and are not necessarily terribly interested in the way in which their workforce really operates. And under those circumstances, we have cultures which are largely technical in orientation, following processes, protocols, procedures, and everything else, rather than having cultures which really nurture individuals to feel a sense of strong ownership about their work, about the organization, and about sharing responsibility for success.
Yes.
All of which are all directed towards how people function and how
Yes.
they best function to produce peak performance for themselves and for everybody else. And so I think we've ended up with cultures that really don't get the best out of people.
No.
We need to do something about it.
No. And so yeah, so I can see, take all those points on board about why it's an important question. So I suppose that leads on to, how early do we need to start? What's your thoughts on that? Are you thinking sort of as soon as somebody comes into an organization, how early do we start developing our leaders?
Yes, I do. I think really early on. I think part of the recruitment process, one should be able to spot people with leader potential. Your leader development and mine started at school. And,
Yes.
mine went on to be formalized, as it were, in my early 20s.
Yes.
And a scheme designed to produce leaders to run one of the world's largest organizations at the time.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm a great fan of capturing people as young as possible, 18 and above in a formal sort of sense,
Yes.
is about right, because then you can capture people before they become, in effect, sort of governed by the environment in which they operate. And once they
Yes.
become sucked into that environment, it
Yes.
becomes that much more difficult to change the environment around you.
So when you're recruiting someone, I mean, I I wear another hat as a director of a social care organization. So when you're recruiting somebody into social care, it isn't just a matter of recruiting somebody into a very specific position. We should be looking for some leadership potential there at the time as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. One of the mantras about leaders and leadership, which I talk about is the combined intelligence of the workforce is far greater than its leaders. And
Yeah,
therefore, leaders need to tap into that intelligence. And
yeah,
therefore, one needs to be recruiting people who are going to tap into that intelligence and
yeah,
then
yeah,
take a lead.
yeah, yeah. No, no, that makes perfect sense to me. Um, how do you think then, Derek, that we can do that? Develop leaders earlier. And what I'm thinking about it from an organizational perspective, what steps do you think organizations can take? Simple sort of concrete, constructive steps that to bring that development of leaders forward earlier.
Well, there are a number of things on that. I mean, the bigger thing is to really do programs which focus on behaviors, culture, some key principles about equality of the workforce.
Yeah,
Everyone's of equal value to the success of the organization, regardless of their work. Therefore, you treat everybody with similar respect. You encourage ideas, innovations, and so on. So a formal sort of development program along that sort of line when people are really quite early into the business itself.
yes,
But then one really wants the environment to encourage people to take the opportunity of taking a lead.
yeah,
So one wants the business itself to encourage people to just take risks, allow mistakes to occur, because there's
yes.
been a development without a whole series of mistakes and failures beforehand.
Yes.
They're not repeated more than.
So opportunities are really giving people opportunities are really important, but we
Absolutely.
can't expect people to get it right every time.
No, no,
Especially younger people with less experience, they're going to make mistakes, aren't they? As long as they don't keep making mistakes, it's a great learning opportunity, isn't it? And it's a leadership development opportunity.
yeah, yeah. As I say, there's never been a success without a series of failures beforehand. And it
Yes,
seems to me that as long as you don't make the same mistake more than twice,
yes,
then you do learn from that. If you make the same mistake the third time, of course, you haven't learned from that and something else is
yes.
going on. You need to do something about it.
I can certainly think of some absolutely horrendous mistakes that I've made in the past, but thankfully I didn't make them too many more times. Um, things that had significant consequences. 'Cause we're none of us is perfect, are we?
Yeah,
We're all imperfect, and that's okay. It's
yeah,
okay to make mistakes. Um, so. Yeah, so giving people opportunities, and I suppose there's about this. It's not just, although leadership development programs can really help. It's not just about that formal side of it, is it? It's there's an informal side to this, isn't there, as well, which is
yeah,
probably just as important.
yeah. Well, I'm much more interested in the behavior of leaders and what they can do to change culture, uh,
Yeah,
and to create a culture which has triggers in it, which trigger people to feel psychologically well,
yes,
have strong resilience, and perform at their peak. Performance
yes,
is, after all, about the ability to concentrate,
yes,
and you have to have clarity of mind in order to be able to concentrate sufficiently long to be able to complete tasks successfully. So creating cultures which trigger off concentration, reduce the impact of adverse events by eliminating them, or indeed, as I would suggest, substituting the possibility of adverse events with positive events to encourage people to feel well. So
yes,
well, they get out of bed and run to work because the workplace itself is such a fantastic place
yes,
that
yes,
provides so much, that encourages us to do interesting things and stimulates us and everything else. That's what the
yeah,
workplace ought to be all about.
Yes, it
After all, we spend
should be.
60% of our adult awake life in some
Mm,
sort of work,
yes.
and pretty miserable. You get to the end of your life and you turn around and think to yourself, God, where on earth did all that time go?
Yeah, yeah,
It could have gone in
yeah,
something fantastic.
yeah. I mean, there's no doubt whatsoever that these positive aspects of work, and maybe this is something we'll chat about another time, Derek, but these positive aspects of work and and well-being at work are so important, aren't they? And that's part about giving people the opportunities to lead and develop,
Yeah.
and make a difference
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
in the organization. Um, well, how do you think, Derek, that how might organizations assess leadership, develop leadership potential at an early age?
Well, I think you can spot the curious individual,
Yeah,
those that have ideas for improving
yeah,
the way in which things are done,
yes,
those who have a critique of what's going on, and also have ideas of how to improve it,
yes,
and who have an affinity with people, who are
yes,
interested in people. And you can spot those people, and they are the ones to nurture. Also, those who quite clearly have quite a lot of courage, I think.
yes,
Courage to speak out,
yes, and
courage
try things.
to try
Yeah,
things, take risks.
yeah.
Um,
Organize things without being asked to, off their own initiative. Yeah, that side of it, I think, is very, very important.
yeah,
So that I suppose that then, there's an implication of that is that current leaders and senior managers in an organization need to devote time to that, don't they? This doesn't happen without some attention and awareness on the part of the current leadership. It requires an investment of time and effort um, to develop these new and younger leaders, doesn't it?
yes. I mean, if you follow my approach to leader development, then about 70% of your time is really held in conversations with people.
Yeah, yeah,
Nurturing them, supporting them. I mean, most of that time these days in quite a lot of organizations are in meetings, which are probably a waste of time for an awful lot of them.
yeah,
They ought not to be in such a constrained environment, but be out and about, getting to know their teams getting to know them,
yeah,
encouraging people to deal with ambiguity, uncertainty,
yeah,
all the things which organizations have in spades, and to devote the time to nurturing people who are going to be the future leaders,
yeah, yeah,
and to encourage the emerging leader, of which there will be an awful lot if you just allow them to emerge, to allow the emerging leaders to actually take on some of your work as a leader,
yes,
and to free up your time to do even more, have more conversation with more people. And
yes, yes. Yeah, no, I see that. That investment. I suppose doing that well is going to create more time
yeah,
for senior leaders to do their thing. And
yeah,
if they can encourage the emerging leaders to take on more responsibility and make decisions and try things and be creative and innovative and so on. Okay, some really good stuff there, Derek. Finish off with some key messages that what we're trying to get across here. What do you think those key messages, those key, really fundamental things are then about related to that question at what age should leaders start their development?
well, they should start as early as possible. Also, The key skill, of course, of leaders is to hold conversation.
Yes.
And these days, with social media causing so much isolation of individuals and having difficulty of interacting, the
Yeah.
earlier that one can encourage people within the workplace to go on a leader development program so they learn how to hold conversations and they don't become fearful of interacting with people,
Yeah.
the better in the long run for everyone. We need to allow people the opportunity of
Yeah.
being a leader, taking a lead.
Yeah. Giving opportunities. That's a key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, giving opportunities. We must ensure that existing leaders are not precious about their role and protect it. Must do the opposite, nurture people to actually take on
Yeah.
their work so they can free up time in order to
Yeah.
hold more conversation, more encouragement, more helping people deal with ambiguity and so on. And we need to focus on the psychological well-being, resilience of people and their ability to concentrate.
Yes.
It only happens if people feel psychologically well.
Yeah.
And so encouraging leaders to understand the triggers that need to be in place that enable people to feel well and to feel resilient
Yes.
against adversity and so on. I think those are the key messages, but
Yes.
starting early.
Yeah. Start early, give people opportunities. We were talking about allowing people to make mistakes because that is a huge development and learning opportunity. And it requires current leaders time to pay attention and be aware, because that way they're going to spot the potential
Yeah.
of the future leaders. Yeah, great. Thanks very much, Derek. That was a really good conversation, and some really good points came out of it. And we hope if you're watching, you found that an interesting conversation too. So thanks very much, Derek, and thank you from me, Alan Bradshaw, and bye for now. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.